Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. My name is Eric Herlock, and on this week's show, I'm publishing a double episode, and this is part one. As you may have heard, I am headed out on a road trip of epic proportions next week. I'm going to be traveling the country in an RV with my wife and kids. We're going to be visiting hemp farms and businesses along various fiber and grain supply chains throughout the country. From North Carolina to Kentucky, through the Midwest, out to the Rockies, up to the Pacific Northwest, out to Montana, and then home by way of South Dakota and Nebraska. And it's really going to be quite a journey. This is a big endeavor, and we certainly could not have attempted anything like this without the generous support from our sponsors, New Holland Agriculture, the National Hemp Association, IND Hemp, Rose Downs and their parent company DeSmet Balestra, King's Agri-Seeds, Pterodon Hemp, and Americhon Cast Hemp. So on today's double episode, I intend to shine some light on these businesses and organizations, shower them with sunshine, and express my deep gratitude to them for being part of our tour. And so you will hear the stories of these businesses and organizations. You'll hear about their commitment to the hemp industry, how and why they are doing what they are doing, their commitment to agriculture, and to the success of farmers. Part one is going to focus on New Holland Agriculture, the National Hemp Association, and IND Hemp. Before we get into these interviews today, I just wanted to remind you about our Kickoff Event next Monday, June 28th, at Penn State's Southeast Agricultural Research and Extension Center in Mannheim, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. The RV will be there, my family will be there, plus we're going to have some of your favorite local Pennsylvania hemp folks on hand with some refreshments and products. So like I said, the event is open to the public, but we are asking that you pre-register. So they've capped attendance at about 100 people, so we just need to keep track of that. There is a link you can go and pre-register. It's lancasterfarminghemptour.eventbrite.com. And of course, I will put a link to that on the show page for this episode. Oh my goodness, if we could get 100 people there, wouldn't that be fun? When was the last time we all got together for some kind of hemp camaraderie here in Pennsylvania? It's going to be a good time, and I really hope to see you. So bring your friends, bring your family, and come on down to the Penn State Farm in Mannheim. And the fact that we've got this much support from our sponsors and the Department of Agriculture and the local hemp folks, it just proves to me once again that what we have here in Pennsylvania is special. This camaraderie, this attitude of togetherness. And I can't take that for granted. I think this is really special, and I am very grateful to be a part of this. And it's that specialness of being from Pennsylvania that inspires me to go out not only as a storyteller and a podcaster of hemp, but also as an ambassador for hemp in Pennsylvania, for farmers in Pennsylvania. I'm going to go out into the country and share our stories and bring back their stories and just help to shine a light on this industry, because this is what we need to do. I have this vision, and maybe you have it too, about a world where farmers are the ones who are producing the raw materials for everything we need. And so I'm excited to go out into the world and to see firsthand the people that are doing this already. These are the pioneers. And it's a big endeavor, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to make this trip, to connect with these people, to go out and see the world. For me, it all started a few years ago with just a simple idea. The idea then was, hey, I'm going to make a podcast about hemp because I think that's important. And now, about 3 years later, it's snowballed. It's sort of taken over my life in the best possible way, and I am really, really, really grateful for this opportunity. But it also just shows, how powerful an idea can be, and imagine if we take an idea like industrial hemp and share it and grow it and get it in the right hands, and together we can all create something that it will shift the paradigm, that will change the world, that will usher in just a new age in our economy, in our agriculture and just the way the world systems are set up. It's got to start with agriculture, and yeah. So let's do this. Let's let our farmers save the world, because it needs saving, and it's going to come down to farmers. Anyway, let's get into these interviews. First up, we're going to talk to the guys from New Holland Agriculture. Hi, John Hundley, Brad Wenger from New Holland Agriculture. Welcome to the Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, doing well. It's raining outside today, but that's good because that means the hemp's going to grow when it warms up again and sun shines tomorrow.
There you go. So I wonder if you guys could give us just a brief introduction of, who you are.
Sure. My name is John Hundley. I work for New Holland Agriculture, and I'm a commercial marketing manager.
Okay.
My name is Brad Wenger. The self-propelled forage harvester marketing manager here at New Holland, and also been working kind of on the hemp initiative here for the New Holland brand in North America.
Oh, great. Okay, so New Holland started out as a small machining shop in Lancaster County back in, 1895. And then while you've grown into this international powerhouse in agriculture, you've maintained your roots here in Pennsylvania. That's great to see. I'm a proud Pennsylvanian myself. I'm born and raised here. And I want to let our listeners know that you guys are one of our main sponsors for our summer national hemp tour. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, and hemp has some of its origins here from Pennsylvania as well, from back when it was a more accepted and widely known crop. It's been quite some time since that transpired, and obviously we're relearning a lot of things from the past. But being Pennsylvania, headquartered here in PA, and having a lot of Pennsylvania roots, especially myself, again, I'm born and raised here as well. So we're really glad to be partners with you guys on this, and to help raise awareness about the benefits of hemp and where this industry could go.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's talk more about that. So how does hemp play into, New Holland's vision for the future and for agriculture in general?
So hemp for us is really, looking down the road as an opportunity for our customers and farmers to be diversified. They never know what's going to change in this dynamic landscape of, government and weather patterns and things like that. And as farmers, I grew up on a farm myself, so you want to be diversified, want to have a lot of different income streams in case, you have a drought one year, you might have livestock that help support that, or vice versa. If the livestock prices are low, you might want to have something else to help supplement. So, we see this as a diversification, but also a sustainability thing for us as a clean energy leader, as CNH Industrial, and as our company continues to, focus on reducing waste and helping be more sustainable. And farming is all about, what's for the planet, right? We're providing for each other. We're trying to replenish the soil, trying to utilize the soil and be good stewards of it. So as farmers and as the ag equipment providers. So I think it all just comes together so naturally for us.
Right. Good. Yeah. There's a lot of issues in the world right now, and it seems like agriculture just has to be part of those solutions. So you've been partnering with the National Hemp Association, and you two have teamed up to be one of the main sponsors of our National Hemp Tour this summer. How did that relationship come together? And can you talk about, like the nature of that relationship? What's going on there with National Hemp Association and New Holland?
Yeah, so we got together with National Hemp Association. It actually kind of came out of their executive director helping a company in New York State source some equipment for growing hemp up there on their farm that they were working on. So that's how we kind of met up, blossomed into our partnership now. Brett Davis, our vice president of North America, is on the board for National Hemp Association. and we're really working together really well. Kind of our slogan is pushing progress together. Them being the advocacy part, us being the industrial, leader that we are on a global scale, kind of coming together, helping push this industry forwards. It's going to take a lot of work, and by no means is it going to be a light switch that comes on tomorrow. But we know there's a great long-term plan as part of this for sustainability, for agricultural diversification, and then just good for the environment. So that's kind of where this is leading. And then we also have Penn State, who we've been collaborating with very closely. They have Mannheim Extension Farm right here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where they do research on. They actually have hemp planted there, as well as we do on our campus farm. We have 120 acres on our headquarters here, where we actually planted hemp as well to do testing.
Okay.
And working with Penn State together, we can look at some of the agronomy, weed control, and then varieties, and then also how do we manage the harvest. So these collaborations and partnerships have been great, and by no means is anyone going to be able to do this alone. We need a good collaboration of the industry to really push this forward.
And speaking of Penn State and their research farm in Mannheim, we will actually be having a send-off event there on June 28th, in the afternoon of June 28th. And you guys will be there, and the National Hemp Association will be there. And of course, Penn State will be represented because it's their location, and Lancaster Farming. So everybody's coming together for that. And it's really exciting. I'm excited to go out, as a representative, ambassador of Pennsylvania, agriculture in Pennsylvania, and bringing you guys with me. I'll have brochures, and, we'll see your logo in all of the content that the videos and whatever. So it's really great to be working with you guys. So let's talk about the types of equipment that you do offer for hemp farmers. And, maybe is there anything in like your R&D pipeline that you can sort of tease us with?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. Over the last 2 years, we have tested numerous products in the hemp crop. And we found that our current hay and forage products excel in this crop with little to no modification. So this is great news for us. This is great news for our farmers, because it means you don't have to buy a specialized piece of equipment if you decide to diversify your farm and add this crop to your rotation. We've tested things all the way up to combines, to disc mower conditioners, windrowers, round balers, and we've seen a lot of success with these products. So the good news for us and for the industry and for the farmer is that our products today will work in this crop.
That's great.
Yeah, just few modifications. There's parts, again, it'll be parts that'll be readily available at your dealerships that you can use to bolt on to really make sure that, because this is a difficult crop to manage. It gets dry, it gets likes to wrap around things. So there are some parts and kits available to help prevent wrapping around spinning components. Push bars to, it's a taller crop, so if you're going to mow it, you might want to, push the crop over and prepare it to enter the mowing, the cutter bar area, and then also just some different setup tricks that we've learned over the years now of testing, because we've actually been doing this since 2017, 2018 already, and we've passed that information on to our dealers and our field specialists so that they can help farmers in the field kind of figure out how to get the equipment running effectively. It is slightly different than your traditional making hay, but still use the same equipment, just a few small adjustments.
In Pennsylvania, there was when hemp was legalized by the Farm Bill, and we set up the program with the Department of Agriculture. It seemed like there was like a gold rush. Like everybody got into hemp, and it was all CBD and cannabinoid production. But you guys are thinking longer term, and you're thinking fiber and grain, right? So are you doing much with CBD farm implements or anything, or it's all sort of focused on the grain and the fiber?
So we've partnered with a couple of farmers who've been working in some of the CBD aspect of things, but that side of the industry has still been very volatile. and there still hasn't been a lot of best practices widely accepted across North America that we've found. So we have worked on that a little bit, but we've been mainly focused on the fiber and small grain component. We believe that has the longest, roadmap and easiest translation to current farming, cash crop farming as we see it today. And that's really where our core customers are going to be focused on, looking at high acreage, um, uh, small grain type product crop and the similar farm equipment, whereas CBD is going to be very small, much more small acreage. It's going to be more like an orchard type setting or small vegetable type setting where there's a lot of maintenance and a lot of daily labor that may not be involved with equipment. It may be more specialized equipment or just hand labor. So we're focused more on the fiber and small grains, and it really pairs well with our industry leadership in being known as a leader in hay and forage, and also having the best small grain combine on the planet with our CR twin rotor combines. So it really pairs really well. You look at Western Canada and the canola and small grains up there, and it's predominantly yellow machines running in those small grains. We really excel at that, and hemp is very similar to that.
Good. Tell me some more about that combine.
So that CR combine, well, for 25 years, it was the only twin rotor combine you could purchase. There are other competitors starting to take advantage of that patent running out, but we have 25 plus years of experience and leadership with that twin rotor combine. It does a great job with the small grains of being able to separate that from the chaff and other material, make sure you have minimal losses, and make sure you're delivering as much value as you can from the field to where it's being delivered to. In this instance, a majority of it's being used for like cooking oils and things like that. And we have a customer in Eastern Canada now who's been doing this with a CX combine for 10 years, which is a traditional combine that we also offer. The advantage to a more traditional drum is that there's less prone to wrapping because the drum is translational instead of how the twin rotor or single rotor designs are in most of these combines today, where it's more there's more opportunity for wrapping depending on the conditions, whereas a CX has a lot less opportunity for wrapping if the conditions really get dry and tough and the crops start separating. So CX combines are a great offering that we have that also can work well in this crop depending on what the customer is doing. Again, this is where we come back to our leadership and the ability to use what the farmers may already have. So if they already have a CR combine, we probably wouldn't advise them to go out and buy a CX. We would give them tips and advice on how to adjust that combine to work really well, the best of its abilities in that difficult, sometimes wrapping crop, and minimize that while maximizing the grain harvesting. So our goal ultimately is just to make sure that farmers can not see specialized expensive equipment and not have to change a lot of what they're doing. Try and make it as easily adaptable to what they're already doing today with cash crops and their equipment, whether it's hay and forage or small grains, so that this industry can flourish. Because if it's highly specialized, it's really going to be a difficult and long trajectory.
Yeah, it's got to just be an easy transition. Like if we're expecting a lot from farmers in the next, century, and we need to make it easy for them to save the world, right? So there's a lot of talk in the hemp space about, the environmental impacts here and how this crop ties in with sustainability. And you guys are also leaders in sustainability too. You've been recognized internationally for the work you're doing. Can you talk about some of that work?
Absolutely. I mean, our vision for New Holland Agriculture is to have a fully sustainable farm. We've been a clean energy leader and recognized for the last decade. Sustainability is an absolute priority for us. We investigate alternative fuels, from electrification to methane tractors to hydrogen tractors. We continuously put R&D behind this because the environment is extremely important to us, and we take a leadership role in that, and we take a lot of pride in that. So when you think New Holland, we absolutely want you to think sustainability.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, you guys are part of the reason why Lancaster County is, world famous, because people know New Holland brand and where you're from. So that's good. So as I travel the country this summer and talk to, farmers on the fiber and grain side, what message should I bring to them from New Holland?
I mean, the message I would want you to convey is, New Holland is not working alone in this. We're trying to find other partners in the industry and other advocacy groups to help bring this crop forward. Our goal is not to make it difficult, but like you said earlier, make it an easy transition, an easy way for them to diversify without changing a lot of what they're already doing today. But all that said, they need to, as this crop becomes, more of a talking point and starts being, farmers start more engaging with it, they need to make sure that they protect themselves, making sure they understand the legal ramifications. The government, ruling has changed over time. It's now accepted to take it across state borders and stuff. Sometimes it needs tested, so they need to understand that for the THC levels. And I think that'll get more lenient as there's more acceptance and understanding to this crop, but also then on where they're going to sell their product. With corn and soybeans and wheat, it's become so readily available and also bought and sold that you don't necessarily have to pre-sell it before you put it in the ground. You usually can find an end, place to sell your product. With hemp, we really haven't built ourselves up to that place yet. So before you put hemp in the ground, no matter if it's CBD for fiber, for grain, try and seek out, who's going to be your buyer for that product. What exactly are they looking for? Because you may need to deliver it in a very specific manner for that to deliver value to the next step in the supply chain, right? Of delivering products and different things for out of this hemp material. So those are very important pieces to know. So just to summarize, it's, understand the legality of where you're growing. Do you need a permit or something like that, a license? Who's going to be your buyer, and in what form or capacity do they want that crop or that material that they're going to deliver?
Right, that's good advice. So, thank you.
If I could add on to that,
please, yeah,
just briefly. I mean, the growing and building of this infrastructure is the most important part for the industry, for the farmers, because we want to be able to limit or mitigate that risk of planting this crop. And then you bring in the conversation about crop insurance and how would that work, and cross contamination with other fields. So there's a lot of things that go into this. But getting that infrastructure, the decortication facilities, that pipeline lined up is really what's going to move this industry forward. I mean, because when I check my commodity prices in the morning, I don't see hemp on there, but we see that, when I'm looking at corn, when I'm looking at milk, that there is absolutely a potential for us to see the hemp prices on there and it truly become a commodity.
Awesome. So we will see you guys out at the Penn State Research Farm next Monday.
Yeah, we look forward to being there with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So what else should listeners know about New Holland and your commitment to hemp?
We've been doing this for 126 years now. Last year was our 125th anniversary. It's a little unfortunate. We wanted to throw a real big party, but with the pandemic, that clamped things down a little bit. So we're trying to celebrate a little bit more this year. And, we have a lot of anniversaries coming up. We have a 60th anniversary on our self-propelled forage harvester, 50th anniversary on our skid steer loaders. And, we've been doing this a long time. And especially when you look back at the hay and forage and small grains and our leadership there, how that ties into hemp, and also our global desire to continue to lead sustainability. We're Pennsylvania, born and raised as a company, and also a lot of us working here. It's been a pleasure working with you guys at Lancaster Farming, and the Hemp Podcast, as well as National Hemp Association, Penn State. And, if there's other people out there listening in the industry who want to help partner up and push this thing forward in the right direction, we look forward to getting in contact with you.
And I'll put all your contact info on the show page for the episode so people can click that and call you and all that stuff. So, and I look forward to, bringing your message out to people out there in the U.S. So.
No, Eric, I really appreciate you having us on. I appreciate this Hemp Tour initiative, putting PA on the map for hemp. It's going to be fun following you around, getting kind of a holistic view of what's going on in the hemp industry around the country or across the country. So look forward to following you around on that, and we're honored to be a sponsor.
John Hundley and Brad Wenger from New Holland Ag, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you next week at the send-off event in Mannheim.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you heard those guys mention their partnership with the National Hemp Association. And so next up, we have Erica Stark, the Executive Director of the National Hemp Association. Erica Stark, welcome back to the podcast. It's always great to talk to you. You are the Executive Director at the National Hemp Association, and your organization has partnered with New Holland Agriculture to sponsor our summer hemp tour. So thank you for your sponsorship. It means a lot to us at Lancaster Farming to have your support. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks again for having me. We are certainly honored to be sponsoring your tour, and we're really excited for it. And we're hearing a lot of excitement for it all across the country. So it's not just here in Pennsylvania that you are well loved and appreciated. It is across this country. So everybody's very excited about your tour.
Awesome. Thank you for saying that. Can you tell us about the National Hemp Association? What is your role in the industry? What are your priorities?
The National Hemp Association is a 501c6 nonprofit organization. Our primary focus for many years was kind of laser focused on getting the 2018 Farm Bill passed. And in the subsequent years since its passage, we've been devoted to making sure that we work with all the relative government agencies to make sure that we have a good regulatory framework to work with. We still have a significant amount of work to go, particularly when it comes to the FDA. But in general, the industry is moving along, and we're transitioning to be more of a traditional trade association and trying to network and connect people across the industry. And we have moved into trying to focus more on the fiber and grain aspects of the industry because while CBD and cannabinoids are certainly very important and we do support them, because they have gotten all the focus and attention these last many years, we feel like the fiber and grain portions of the industry have not gotten the attention they deserve. And that is where the true potential of hemp lies, as far as having hemp be a true commodity crop that benefits farmers and consumers, and most importantly, the environment, which is our really main focus now, is educating the new administration on the ways that hemp can be an integral part of achieving the goals of combating climate change, rebuilding our infrastructure, and creating American manufacturing jobs.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with all of that. Fiber and grain, that's what this tour of the summer is going to be about. So I'm excited to go talk to people all over the country who are growing fiber and grain.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear you talking to those people who are growing the fiber and grain.
Yeah.
It's really important. And as you know, the main barrier that we have had, particularly on the fiber side of things, is the lack of infrastructure for decortication to make those raw materials that the manufacturers need. Mm-hmm. So that's where we need investment, I believe, from the federal government. I think that they do have a role to play in public-private partnerships in order to bring this crop to its full potential. So we're hoping to gain their support while supporting the amazing farmers and entrepreneurs who are trying to build from scratch right now. There's amazing people out there, and I'm sure you're going to meet a bunch of them. And we're thrilled that you're highlighting their efforts.
Yeah, I'm excited. And it looks like it's going to be a great tour, and we're going to shine as big and as bright of a light on the fiber and grain side of this industry and hopefully reach people outside of, the hemp space. Because I think, regular people need to know about the goodness of hemp.
They do. I think particularly when it comes to the grain side, a lot of people aren't aware about the superior nutrition that hemp seeds offer.
Right.
And a lot of those products are on the market right now. And we would encourage the general public to seek them out and support the industry by purchasing them, not only to support the industry, but to support their own health and well-being as well. So it's an important message to get out there. And thank you for doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an honor to get to do this work. Because like you said, could have such a positive impact on the environment and the economy. And it's like this world has so many just issues at this point, and I feel like agriculture in general and hemp in particular could really do a lot to change things and improve our world.
Absolutely. And honestly, when you look around, I feel like hemp is one of the very few nonpartisan issues that we have left. It's something that everybody can agree on and that can bring people together. So it is important, and we have to walk before we run. And it's important to keep that in mind as we move forward, because I know there's been a lot of frustration in the industry, particularly how the CBD markets kind of like exploded into this green rush and then sort of imploded on itself a little bit. And it's going to take time for those markets to rebound. And it's also going to take time for the fiber industry to reach its stride. So we have to continuously find that balance of enthusiasm and practical reality, but the potential is there and it is obtainable. We just have to, keep our eyes on the prize. Right. and take each step as it comes.
Yeah, part of the reason I want to do this tour is to share those stories of the fiber and grain side with farmers, and readers of Lancaster Farming Newspaper who may have been really disappointed by the CBD side of things, because it did sort of take up all the oxygen in the conversation around hemp. And I want to remind our readers and listeners that, yeah, there's more to this than cannabinoid production, and there's still a whole lot of potential left, and we can do it.
Yeah, our chairman, Jeff Whaling, often says that, CBD represents about 2% of the potential of the crop, and it dominates about 98% of our time. And I would concur with that assessment. When we say that hemp can make 25,000 different products, the fiber and grain are the vast majority of those products. And I truly do believe that the manufacturers out there want to grow it. Want to use it in their products because, not just because it's hemp, but because it actually is a superior fiber and it brings a lot of benefits. But supply chains need to exist in order for them to do it. And we have to build that supply chain in a methodical way to make sure that we don't have wildly fluctuating markets the way we saw in the cannabinoid space.
Right.
Because that's just not good for everybody. And ultimately too, I believe that one day a lot of products that we use every day will have hemp in them, and many consumers may not even know it. Because it's not that hemp's going to replace a bunch of products, but it's going to have a big role in making existing products better, stronger, and more sustainable.
Good. Will we see you next week at the hemp send-off event at the Penn State Research Farm?
Absolutely. We wouldn't miss it. We have to be there to wish you a bon voyage. And so I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you there, and I thank you for your time today. And again, thank you for your support of our tour. Greatly appreciate it.
Our pleasure. And if anybody's interested, we would encourage you to visit our website at nationalhempassociation.org and consider becoming a member. It is our only source of revenue, and your memberships are what allow us to continue to do our work and also to help the important work that people like Eric are doing as well.
Yeah, and there are some benefits to being a member of the National Hemp Association, right? Can you go over those?
Yeah, we have pretty much a membership level for everybody, everything from just a $50 individual membership to different tiers of business memberships that helps us to promote businesses through email blast to our distribution list, our social media outlets. We have a wide variety of educational resources for members, everything from cultivation, best practices to manufacturing and processing, certainly tips and seeking of calls to action to help on the legislative and regulatory side, and all around being a networking tool for members to not only interact directly with us, but also with each other to help find those opportunities and make those connections that will ultimately build our supply chain.
All right, that was Erica Stark from the National Hemp Association. And be sure to go to nationalhempassociation.org and check out member benefits. Next up, we've got Ken Elliott from IND Hemp in Montana. Ken Elliott from IND Hemp. It's so great to talk to you again. IND Hemp is one of our major sponsors for our summer road trip, the Lancaster Farming National Hemp Tour. So I thank you. Deep gratitude to you for sort of getting this ball rolling, because it was in conversations with you 6-7 months ago where you sort of planted the seeds for this trip. So thank you for that, and welcome back to the podcast. I know listeners hear your voice sometimes in the messages, because you are one of our major sponsors for the podcast itself. So thank you. Good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Eric. Thank you. It's enjoy talking with you guys. Enjoy talking with everybody in this industry. Like you and I talked before, there is a tremendous number of people out here that are pretty excited about hemp, and they're smart people, and they're great to work with. We love Lancaster Farming Podcast. You know, we listened to you guys last year, and we identified from our standpoint who would be good to partner. We're developing strategic relationships with a lot of people. And we love your podcast. There's we listen to Joy Beckerman and things like that. There's some great people, right? There's some good podcasts, but we listen to you, and you reach, the farmers. And for the hemp industry to take off, we decided long ago that, hey, it's got to be focused on the farmers and move forward from there. And you guys have got such a good base and good folks, and you've got such a great outreach, and we love supporting you guys. Love being with you, man.
Well, thank you. Well, let's talk about IND Hemp. I know I interviewed your agronomist and you're one of your marketing guys back in September, but I'd like to hear it from your perspective. Where did IND Hemp come from? How did you get here?
Man, that's a great question. First of all, IND Hemp, we're a family-owned business. We're a faith-based company. We're a public benefits company. And we got our start. I had a career in the environmental business, and I ended up purchasing a Superfund site in Northeast Montana. And this was back in 2011, 12 timeframe. And I'm responsible for cleaning that place up, right? And we got some great ideas for development. But one of the things we looked at from a clean the place up perspective was, let's see if phytoremediation might work. And then we looked at different biomasses that could be useful, and we settled on industrial hemp. It was used over in Chernobyl. Weren't really clear whether it'd work on our industrial site that we had, which was an old oil refinery. But that's how it started. It started looking into that thing in 2012 and 13. And then in 2014, the laws all changed. It was like I was the only guy doing anything in Montana. So I got the first license and started working with the state. We've got such a great state out here. It's amazing Department of Agriculture that we work with, and they're very supportive. And so it became our family got into it. I live in an agricultural community where our friends and our farmers, and they are getting beat up, just like farmers everywhere. They're just getting beat up. And out here it's wheat and barley and things like that. And there's just not a lot of hope in ag country when you're relying on commodities such as that, or corn and soybeans in the Midwest. You'll have a few good years, then you have a few bad years, and you live in that cycle. And we think that hemp could be a great addition to that, and so we're looking forward to it. It's been great. We put together an oilseed processing line. We use Robert Burns. Talk to Robert. We use
I'll
Robert.
be talking to Robert Burns today.
Yeah. And Robert sat down with us early on, and we looked at different types of presses. We went out and met with Roger and Ergel Gushis with Healthy Oilseeds in North Dakota, and they're just absolutely the salt of the earth, wonderful people. And we came up with a design, and then almost immediately we realized it was too small. And so Roger hooked us up, or not Roger, but Robert hooked us up with a company in England that had larger presses. And so it just took off. My daughter used to work for Archer Daniel Midlands as a process and project engineer. And ADM is a super company if you're an engineer. They teach you a lot. And she learned a lot. And she's a chemical engineer. And I asked her to come out to Montana and help me build this thing. And she said, man, I'm on my way. And then I get to work with my wife, between my wife, Julie, and my daughter, Morgan, and the team we put together in Fort Penn. It's super. I love going to work every day.
And so you are working on a decortication facility as well, right?
You bet. The first year we raised about 3,500 acres of, I guess we'll call it the single sole purpose crop out there with grain, right? Mm-hmm. And we use X59 grain out where we're at. It just seems to work. But then our farmers were saying, what do you want us to do with all this fiber we left in the field, right? And it's like, well, that sounds like a problem. So we went from pilot stage, 3,500 acres to 10,000 acres the next year. And then we decided, hey, we've got to figure this fiber thing out. And we reached out to Trey Riddle, who used to have Sunstrand down in Kentucky, and went and talked to him and looked at his operations. And we convinced Trey to come out and help us put our facility together. So we've got a 5 ton per hour LaRoche line. We just finished a 52,000 square foot building to put it in. And I think everything's on site right now. We're just plugging it in and putting it together. And we're hopeful that by the time you're out here in July, it'll be working. Maybe not, it's not fully tweaked. I think we're scheduled to start in September, but it's supposed to be running so you can see it when you're here. So hopefully it's cool. So anyway, this year we kind of cut back on our grain production so we could focus more on the sole purpose fiber into things. And so I think we're going to have maybe 5,000 acres of fiber and maybe 5,000 acres of grain this year.
Okay.
And we're focused on market development and some other strategic relationships. And there's so many cool people out there working on some great things that we're involved with. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So looking forward to this year.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to get out there. And I guess we're going to maybe have some sort of public event there in Fort Benton when I'm out there.
Yeah. You got to remember the size of the public out here is less than the public out there, right? But we got some folks that we've invited to come up, and I hope this is successful. We'd like to host you next year, the same type of thing, and maybe schedule it so people from all over can come up to Montana and see what we're doing. And we're certainly a pretty transparent company. We like to help others. This industry does not need any more train wrecks. And so if we can help people figure out what we're doing and help them start something up in Alabama or California, wherever, Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
If they can learn from us, and I would say what we learned early on, and that's why we hired our agronomist, Ben Brimlow. He was our first hire, because you have to go out there and deal with the farmers. And if the farmers are successful, then you can build off of their success. It's hard to build off of a farming community that doesn't know what they're doing, right?
Right.
So it's very important that you get an agronomist and get a good feel for your farmers. And then once they trust you and you understand their capabilities, you can build something from that. So, and that's been our path anyway. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody. That's kind of how we're doing it.
Sounds like a good plan. And I look forward to getting out there at the end of July and meeting some of your farmers and taking the tour of the facilities there. But can we, once we have more information about some kind of event there in Fort Benton, could we, invite people to come in if they want to?
Absolutely. There's no intellectual property here that we're too worried about, because the intellectual property is our farmers and hard work. And if you think you can buy something off the shelf someplace or take somebody else's idea and run with it, and you're going to spend a lot of money finding out you're wrong. So it's like, come look at what we got, and if it works for you, we'll help you. And we've had a lot of people come in wanting to do just that. They want to, hey, we'd like to do something like this in Minnesota or Illinois or down in Nebraska, and Iowa. Gosh, everybody wants to do this. There's a lot of excitement about hemp, and quite honestly, we'll have a pretty large facility. I think the largest one in the country at that point. But our facility is not enough to sustain this industry. So we need more.
Yep.
For us to be successful, we need more people out there doing it. That rising tide supporting all the boats. That's a big deal in this industry.
Yeah. Good. Well, once we get more details about my time there in Montana, we'll put that on the podcast and invite people to come on out if they want to. But I look forward to seeing you in person and checking everything out later this summer.
Yeah, I'd love to get you to meet some farmers and walk some of these hemp fields out here. I think they're probably going to be a lot different than what you guys see out east. We've got hundreds and hundreds of acres planted, and it's just kind of cool walking through something that big, and you kind of start seeing that the dream is coming to fruition. Good.
Yeah, we need visionaries. We need people like you who can imagine it, because if we can't imagine it, then we can't have it. So absolutely. So good. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you guys, and we'll work with you. Let's, like I said, figure out who we can get out here. I spoke with Brad at New Holland yesterday and told him he had to come out with you in July. So hopefully there's some folks like that will attend. Yeah, good. Well, again, I'm deeply grateful for your support of our tour, and we have a great group of sponsors, and I'm really happy that you guys are all sort of networking together now. So that feels good.
Yeah, good community. Hemp community is a good community. We talk about the goodness of hemp, and it comes from the individuals in it, and they want it to be successful. All of us.
Amen to that. That was Ken Elliott from IND Hemp in Fort Benton, Montana. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our sponsorship sunshine episode. Get to know the sponsors. And it's a great group of organizations involved in this hemp tour. And so again, I don't think I can express fully my gratitude to all of you who have helped, and to all of you who are listening to our show and sharing it and just being part of this amazing industry that is growing out of nothing. Coming up on part 2 of this double episode, we've got more conversations with our sponsors. You will hear interviews with Robert Burns from Rosedowns, Taylor Fritz from King's Agri-Seeds, Michael Keeley from Pterodon Hemp, and last but not least, Cameron McIntosh from Omération Cast Hemp. Thank you for listening to part 1. I hope you enjoyed part 2 as well. My name is Eric Herlock. I am the digital editor at Lancaster Farming Newspaper, the greatest agricultural newspaper in the world. And I hope to see you either at our event in Mannheim next week or somewhere out in America this summer. All right, but until then, I'll see you in the newspaper.
Industrial hemp.
This episode of Lancaster Farming Industrial Hemp Podcast is copyright 2021 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family. Today's show is written and recorded, edited, and produced by Eric Herlock. Any music you hear throughout the show is courtesy of Tin Bird Shadow.